Hello and welcome to Derek Likes Sports, and today I'm going to do something totally different. I have a Sporcle quiz that I want to do, and I thought I will just make content out of it because everything should be content, right? So this Sporcle quiz, it's the great Super Bowl scorecard. Sorry, not ultimate. Ultimate might be a different one. So we have all the Super Bowls here, and we have the winners and losers of each one. And I'm going to try to get them all and talk while I do it. And hopefully that's interesting. And if it's not, you'll never see this. You're not seeing it right now if it's not. So let's get started. So we got 10 minutes. That's tough. All right, first Super Bowl. That was the Packers. Bart Starr. They beat the Chiefs. And then they came right back and won Super Bowl II. I don't think either of these Super Bowls were called Super Bowls. They were the AFL, NFL, World Championship. I think the third one might have been the first one that was called the Super Bowl, or maybe it was the second one. I'm actually not sure. But Super Bowl III, the Jets beat the Colts. That was the Joe Namath guarantee game. Huge upset. Super Bowl IV, the Chiefs beat the Vikings. It was the first time the Vikings made it, and the first of their losses. The Colts came back and won in Super Bowl V. They beat the Cowboys. Don't want to talk about it. Super Bowl VI, the Cowboys, I believe, came back and won, yes, after the year after losing. They beat the Dolphins. And the Dolphins, the year after losing, they beat the Washington football team. Super Bowl VIII, was that the Raiders? Or was that, it was not the Steelers. Super Bowl VIII is tripping me up. The Dolphins, they won 2 in a row, right? Yes. Okay. That's right. They beat the Vikings the second time. Good. And then the Steelers beat the Vikings again. So the Vikings lost back-to-back Super Bowls. Surely no team would ever do that again. And then the Steelers beat the Cowboys the first time. And the Raiders beat the Vikings. Everyone was taking turn beating the Vikings. Then the Cowboys beat the Broncos. The Steelers beat the Cowboys 2 years in a row. Oh, man, it did happen again. Oh, no, did they not? Wait, no, they beat the Rams the second time. That's right. They did not beat the Cowboys 2 years in a row. And then we got the Raiders beating the Eagles, of course. The 49ers beating the Bengals the first time they beat them. Washington got their second title against, that was their first title. They got revenge against the Dolphins. That's right. And then they tried to go for 2, but the LA Raiders with Marcus Allen beat them in Super Bowl 18. Super Bowl 19 was the 49ers. They beat the Dolphins. Go check out my podcast episode with Josh from Same Old Dolphin Show. He talked about that Super Bowl is the only one that Dan Marino made it to. Super Bowl 20, that was the Bears beating the Patriots. We almost got a rematch of that this year. This one was, I want to say the 49. No, this was the Giants. Yes, the Giants beating the Giants beating the Broncos? Yes. Okay, yeah, the Broncos lost a few here. This one, I believe, was Washington against the Broncos again. This game started 10-0 Denver, and then Washington scored 42 straight points to win that game. And then we got the 49ers beating the Broncos. The Broncos beating the Bengals. And then the 49ers beat the Broncos. The 49ers won 2 in a row. They beat the Bengals, and then they beat the Broncos. Now we're doing okay on time. We got just under 7 minutes left here. Super Bowl 25. This would have been the Giants beating the Bills on the Scott Norwood wide right kick. Next, the Bills were back, and they lost to Washington. And then they lost to the Cowboys twice. 4 years in a row. The poor Buffalo Bills lost, and the Cowboys took a year off. They let the 49ers beat the Chargers. The only time the Chargers made it. It's also the Super Bowl with the largest point spread going in. I want to say the 49ers were like 16.5 point favorites or something. Look it up. It was an insane spread in that game, and they covered it. And then the Cowboys came back and won Super Bowl 30, Super Bowl XXX, which all the adults around me were giggling about, and 6-year-old me was like, what's so funny? That's actually the first Super Bowl I remember watching. It's one of the first, maybe the first football game I remember watching. The following year, the Packers beat the Patriots. Funny story, I had a Patriots backpack that year for school because Walmart got like a weird shipment to Virginia, and it was like on sale, so my parents bought it. That was kind of the start for me, probably, in having just random team merchandise that had nothing to do with my rooting interests. John Elway finally got one against the Packers. That was the Elway helicopter play at the goal line, and then the Broncos blew out the Falcons. The NFC Championship game that year was way more interesting than that Super Bowl. And then after that, Super Bowl 34, we got the 1 yard short Titans lost to Kurt Warner in the Greatest Show on Turf. Rams 35, that was the Ravens blowing out the Giants, with Trent Dilfer winning the Super Bowl. And then Tom Brady, some guy named Tom Brady, won his first Super Bowl the following year against Kurt Warner and the Rams. The Bucks blew out the Raiders, Rich Gannon and the Raiders, in Super Bowl 37. Super Bowl 38, the Patriots were back. Tom Brady got his second, and that was a win over the Panthers. And then he got his third the following year, and that was a win over the Eagles. The year after that, the Steelers made it, and they beat the Seahawks. That was the first time the 6th seed won the Super Bowl, was those Steelers. They won it in Detroit, which was Jerome Bettis's hometown, and that was his last game. He went out with a win. But I got to tell you, the refs in that game, not good. Not good. Go back and watch that game. I'm not going to say it was rigged, but it was... yeah, maybe it was rigged. The next Super Bowl, XLI. So that's 41. That's the Prince did the halftime show. That one was in Miami, and it was the Colts beating the Bears. Peyton Manning beating Rex Grossman in Super Bowl 41. Super Bowl 42, that was the undefeated Patriots losing, getting upset by the Giants 17-14. Wild game. One of the great stories. That's the game with the helmet catch by David Tyree. The following year, let's see, this would have been, so this was the year that Brady tore his ACL and the Steelers won the Super Bowl. Another great game against the Cardinals. That was the Santonio Holmes catch in the end zone. Super Bowl 44. Let me think about this for a moment. 44, was that the Saints? Yes, the Saints beating the Colts. That was the Peyton Manning threw a really bad pick six that kind of lost them that game. The following year's Aaron Rodgers got his ring. He beat the Steelers, which team he ended up eventually playing for. The following year, I think we're back. Yeah, we're back to Patriots losing again to the Giants. And yeah, that one was just as surprising. The Giants got hot again, faced the Patriots, and they beat them in very similar fashion, to be totally honest. The following year, the Ravens, that was the Colin Kaepernick year where the Ravens ran out to a huge lead. Kaepernick brought them all the way back. It was the Harbaugh, John and Jim Harbaugh on opposing sidelines going against each other. And that game ended with the Ravens coming out on top after a long delay with the blackout. The Superdome just lost power during that game. And now we're back to a situation where we could have a Harbaugh again, because John is with the Giants in the NFC and Jim is with the Chargers in the AFC. So maybe that'll happen again. The following year, we ended up with the Super Bowl 48, and that was okay. This was one that we could have a rematch of this year. The Seahawks and the Broncos, absolute blowout, 43-8. Peyton Manning lost again. The next year was the Patriots got back and beat the defending champion Seahawks. The year for that, Super Bowl 50. Notice this one doesn't have a Roman numeral. Drives me crazy. The Broncos won, though, and they defeated the Panthers, Cam Newton and the 15-1 Panthers. One of the best Super Bowls was Super Bowl 51. That was the Patriots, the 28-3 game against the Falcons. And then the following year, the Patriots lost to the Eagles, and another really, really good game. They lost by 8. I won a really weird bet. You can hear that story on my episode that I did with Denny Carter. The following year, the Patriots, they won their last Super Bowl with Tom Brady. It's the Super Bowl. It was a matchup, the Patriots-Rams, it was a matchup that we'd already seen before, and we could see it again this year. It would be, I believe, the first time, no, it'd be the second time teams have played each other 3 times in a Super Bowl. I think the Cowboys and the Steelers are the other one. Okay, I gotta finish this up. Chiefs, Mahomes got his first against the 49ers. The following year, the Buccaneers with Tom Brady beat the Chiefs. And then the year after that, the Rams beat the Bengals. That was Stafford getting his. Chiefs beat the Eagles. And then the Chiefs came back and won again, beating the 49ers. And then last year, the Eagles stopped the three-peat, blew out the Chiefs. And that is all 118 winners and losers of the Super Bowls. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, leave a comment. Maybe you have some other quizzes that you would find it interesting for me to do. I really enjoy kind of talking through all these games and talking about Super Bowl history. We have another Super Bowl coming up, folks. Don't forget. Yeah, I think it's going to be I don't know if I publish this. We may already know. I picked the Rams and the Broncos, which is probably the least likely matchup given, the situations for those teams. But we'll see. We'll see if it happens. So anyway, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time.